I'm Mike Esneault, and welcome to the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge's AC23 Plus Artist Legacy Series podcast. This is a series where we talk to artists who are doing amazing things in the areas of the arts, including performance, education, production, as well as arts advocacy. We record this series in the Virginia and John Nolan Black Box Studio, as well as in the Jan and Bill Grimes recording studio here at the Carrie Siraj Community Arts Center. Be sure to visit artsbr.org for more information on all the great things we are doing here at the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge. Hope you enjoyed the podcast series, and thanks for tuning in.
My life is a tree, leaves fall down. My life is a tree, said the leaves fall down. Leaves fall down, but the root stays. My life is a tree, said the branches sway. My life is a tree, said the branches sway. Branches sway. Yeah, but the root stays. My life is a tree in every way. My life is a tree in every way. Branches sway. Yes, but the root stays. My life is a tree, said the leaves fall down, but the root stays. My life is a tree, leaves fall down, but the root stays. Leaves fall down, but the root stays. My life is a tree, said the branches sway. My life is a tree, the branches sway. Branches sway, yes, but the root stays. My life is a tree, leaves fall down. My life is a tree, leaves fall down. Leaves fall down, but the root stays. Leaves fall down, but the root stays. Leaves fall down, but the root stays. Yeah.
Stephanie Jordan on vocals. How you doing, Steph?
I feel good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you again.
It's good to see you.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but you're always on my mind.
Well, likewise. When
Always on my mind.
when I hear great vocals in my head, I hear Stephanie Jordan.
Oh, that's nice.
In the same company as your heroes, probably.
Oh, wow.
Which are, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Lena Horne.
Oh, absolutely.
We can talk about these names in a minute, like Shirley Horne, maybe.
Absolutely.
Maybe some Carmen McRae.
Absolutely, if I could only sing like Carmen McRae.
And I left out another important one, Nancy Wilson.
And Miss Nancy Fancy Wilson. Yes.
Well, for those listening or kind of tuning in for the first time or getting familiar with Miss Stephanie Jordan for the first time, Stephanie is from New Orleans.
Yes.
And you have the real privilege, I think, from someone who doesn't have that, who hasn't had that
opportunity, I guess. You grew up in a very musical family.
I did.
And this is a fascinating thing to me.
And I'm still growing up in a very
It's never ending, right?
It's never ending.
And the thing about New Orleans, it's just, I think it's just so cool, is yes, you grew up in a musical family, but there's this whole lineage of families in New Orleans, of musical families.
They do exist
And
all over.
Jordan is definitely one of those. Yeah. So what was that like? I mean, growing up so you got a brother who's a
Trumpet
flautist,
player.
trumpet, flute. You got a sister who plays violin,
Violin.
all at a very high level, by the way. Now,
And we all played music at one time, you know.
well,
it was
I mean, what was that like growing up in that family?
Well, there's 7 of us. And let's not forget that my mom is a great piano player.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And then, so there's music on both sides of the family. So it was a beautiful experience. You know, television and the internet and all of the social media stuff that people are involved with now, I feel like that's what my life was like, but it wasn't social media.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does
Like
that make
that
sense?
constant stimulation? Is that what
Yeah.
you
You know, it was like there was so much going on,
Right.
you know, and there were so many musicians that we knew through my dad and through my mom as well, because I mean, her brother Maynard Chatters is a great trombonist, and
Right.
you know, and then my mom is one of 16, and they all played music.
Right. Right.
So I can only like compare it to that, you know. It was like that was our social media,
Right.
you know, of the time, you know, just
Right.
you know, knowing lots of musicians, hearing a lot of music all the time. It was a lot of stimulus, but it was great stimulus. I didn't realize it at the time, how great it was.
Yeah, I mean, I only got to know your family maybe 25 years ago. That's when I kind of got
Right.
to know some of you guys. But I immediately noticed how intense everybody is about music. And I mean, was it like that was Kent like that intense as a kid? Like
Yeah,
practicing?
Kent was very intense.
Just
and
the
still
practice,
is.
Mentality.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I know your dad was like that, for sure.
You know, music is a serious thing in my
Yeah,
family.
Yeah.
So, which is part of the reason why I never really thought I was any good. Seriously. Because, you know, like Marlon was playing, you know, full trumpet concertos and he was 10, you know.
Right.
And Rachel was playing, Paul played really well, although
Yeah.
he became an engineer.
Right.
But he played really well as a kid, like memorized, and I couldn't do anything like that. You know, Kent was always playing, and you know, Kent would play saxophone. He won't do it in front of other people.
Yeah.
But when we were kids growing up, he played a lot of tenor saxophone too.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he hides it, but he played. He used to memorize Ernie Watts solos. Okay,
Oh.
I remember that.
Let's start simple. Jeez.
Right.
That's crazy.
You know, I can recall that, you know, as a kid, just all the music that was going on and people talking about music. But it wasn't just jazz, though. So there was
I remember
a lot of music going
I
on.
remember, I think it was you that was telling me, or maybe it was Rachel, but as kids, y'all would go to see the symphony a lot, right?
Oh, yes, we had symphony night.
Yeah.
We'd get all dressed up and go hear the symphony. That was a thrill for us.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed it. And, of course, we were all playing violin. So
Yeah.
we were kids and we had violin lessons. Somehow I didn't manage.
I still want to see you play violin. I'm waiting
I can
for
still play a little bit.
it. I don't doubt that you can.
Yeah, I really can. I know my bow. I can hold a bow really well.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, so you went through your teen years, went through high school in New Orleans, but then you left New Orleans, right?
I left New Orleans and went to college in Washington, D.C. at Howard University.
And what was the goal with that?
The goal was to be a news person, I majored in communications, and I worked in television and radio, and I really thought that that would be my life.
Mm-hmm.
How this singing stuff started out.
The genes are strong in your family.
I just don't know how I landed here. It's something, changed my course.
Was it?
I started working in a jazz station,
Oh, okay.
a jazz radio station. That was my first, one of my first jobs after graduation.
Really? Were you like a DJ?
No, I was actually a promotions director. So I would promote all of the big jazz acts at the time. And half of them were from New Orleans, so I knew
Right.
them all.
Right.
Wynton and Branford and Terrence and Donald. And then my brothers were signed to CBS Records as well.
Now, Marlon was signed, is this right? He was signed like when he was 16 or something? Something
Yeah,
crazy?
he was really young.
Wow. 'Cause
he was
still
really
going,
young.
He was still going to NOCA, right? And he was signed to a major
Yeah,
record.
he was graduating from high school and signing a record deal.
Wow.
But jazz records at that time, well, jazz records and then CDs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was big. That was a big deal at that time.
Yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s. It's a real big deal. George Butler was the person at CBS Records who was pulling all of these acts out of New Orleans and signing them. Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah.
I promoted all of those very first records,
Okay.
and I did a very good job at it.
Yeah.
And then somehow
Well, so how
I
did
got
you end
involved
up?
with singing.
I mean, were those really, even though you grew up in New Orleans around a musical family, is it fair to say your first gigs were in D.C.?
Yes. My first piano player was Doug Karn.
And I've met Doug over
Yeah.
the years. Yeah.
Doug is originally from Florida, but he was really big in the R&B, sort of jazz R&B scene in the 70s with a great singer who he married, Jean Karn.
Yeah.
And there was this great club right on the line of D.C. and Maryland called Tacoma Station Tavern. And they would just have great local performers there, international performers, jazz, R&B, and it was just a great hangout spot. And it was during the time when, live music and clubs and jazz and live R&B was still, pretty hot.
Yeah.
And so I met Doug hanging out with Kent. And my sister was hanging out with me, and it just happened to be my birthday. And so she dared me to get up on the stage and sing a song. And I did. So my career actually started on a dare. Literally.
From your sister.
Yes, Rachel. She said, I'm tired of you singing in my ear and asking me, can I sing? Go up there and take a chance and do it. And so, Kent sort of set it up, and, they asked me, well, come up and, let's do it.
What did you sing, you remember?
Yes, I remember April.
Oh, that's not an easy song.
No, I didn't even know that was a hard song at the time. I just sing it because I liked it so much. Right. And I went up on the stage. I almost fainted. I can remember. I thought I was going to faint. And the people started clapping, and
then you were hooked.
And then I was hooked.
Right.
That was crazy, but that's literally how I got started.
I don't know, in our conversations over the years, like being in that area, of course you were in Shirley Horn's hometown.
Oh my goodness,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way I met Shirley was the drummer who was playing the night that I performed. Let me see, was he there? He was either there or he was playing. He may not have been playing with me that night, but he was good friends with Doug. Steve Williams, who's one of the greatest drummers in the world.
Yeah. You and I have worked with him.
Yes. And so between Steve and Doug, they, Doug is a character. I can remember when he said, okay, so the club owner said, well, we're going to give her a gig. Y'all need her.
They pay attention when she sings.
That was funny. The club owner was Bobby Boyd. Just a great, if Richard Pryor had a brother that he didn't know about, it was Bobby Boyd. I mean, this guy was so hilarious. He was just naturally funny and just great person. And so he said, look, I want her on the gig, okay? And so Doug calls me the next day and he says, hey, pretty baby, what you doing? I said, I'm just at my place, hanging. I want to come over. I need you to write down every song that you know. So, of course, I wrote down a whole list of Nat King Cole tunes. And he came over to my apartment with a keyboard and says, okay, you sing that in A flat, you sing that in G, you sing that in C, you sing that in B flat. He's giving me all my keys. He wrote this list. Right. He wrote all the keys next to the list, similar to what you do.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
And so then the next weekend I had a whole show, but we started as a duo, happy hour. So I started off doing similar to what we just did. Yeah. So my first gig was like a duo happy hour with me and Doug, like 5:30 to 7:30. And I'll never forget the funniest thing the night that I first sang. It was my birthday again, but Doug came over. Doug is just, he's a reality TV show that never happened, but he had this cigar and he brought a bottle of champagne, the best, Dom Perignon, over to me. And he gave me $100, a $100 bill, and he said, don't ever sing for free.
Lesson number one.
Yes, lesson number one. Don't ever sing for free. So I got paid on my first gig.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That was so beautiful.
The things they won't tell you in music school, but you learn right away.
I could teach people about having a career. Things they'll never know. Yeah. They'll never learn in a book.
The other side of the story.
The real side of being in music.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really, I have fun because I think I started out having fun. So when I don't have fun at a gig, I'm irritated. I like to enjoy myself when I'm on stage. Right. Some people tell me, Stephanie, we enjoy you. Good, that's what I want you to do. It's got to be fun.
Well, and it has to translate.
Yeah.
The audience has to feel it.
Yeah. They have to feel something. Right. I think when I first started, I worried about developing a sound. Of course, I wanted to sound like Shirley Horn. Right. When I met Shirley Horn, I just thought, is this really my life? Am I sitting here actually holding a conversation with Shirley Horn? Yeah. That's a voice that is just beyond my imagination. When she recorded and released Here's to Life, I listened to that CD exclusively for like 4 or 5 months. It might have been 6 months. That's the only thing I would listen to. I just could not believe how complete that record was.
Well, she had the best arranger.
The
ever.
Best arranger.
Johnny Mandel.
Ever, next to Mike Esneault.
No.
I knew you would say that. I know you learned a lot from listening to him too, didn't you?
I used to transcribe his arrangements.
I know you did.
Yeah.
That's why you're so good.
Well, it very inspirational listening to someone like that.
I mean, those arrangements, her voice, and the way he wrapped the arrangements around her. Because you know the way they did that. She laid all the tracks down, and then he
came back with the orchestra.
Came back and just created it all around her.
Right.
Which is unreal.
So he had to sit down and write all that stuff she did.
Right.
And build the arrangement around that.
And build it all around her. And so that's why, to me, it's so seamless.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a genius.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's play a tune.
Okay.
One tune we talked about was Alfie. How about that?
Could I have some water first?
Yes, you can.
It's on the floor right here. I just don't want to get off on my perch. The things that go on in podcasts.
There you go. That's the jazz.
Okay. So this tune, oh my goodness. Another great singer, Miss Dionne Warwick. Oh my God, I love Dionne. What's it all about, Alfie? Is it just for this moment we live? What's it all about when you sorted out, Alfie? Are we meant to take more than we give? Or are we meant to be kind? And if only fools are kind, Alfie, then I guess it would be wise to be cruel. But if life belongs only to the strong, Alfie, what can you lend on an old golden rule? As sure as I believe there's a heaven above, Alfie, I know, yes, I know something sure. I know something even non-believers can believe in. Well, I believe in love, Alfie. Without true love, you just exist, Alfie, until you find the love you've missed. You're nothing, Alfie. But when you walk, let your heart just lead the way. What's it all about? What's it all about? What's it all about? Alfie.
Shirley used to always do that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, Shirley.
Well, okay. So
And
you're in.
Dion. Because, you know, I can't say that growing up I exclusively listened to jazz or even really sang jazz songs. Because I can remember one time my mom overheard me singing this Billie Holiday song. Oh my goodness, I'm getting it confused in my head right now. All of me.
Oh.
Why not take all of me?
Right.
What are you singing? What? Don't you sing that song, little girl.
So you were little.
I didn't know what it meant. I had no clue what that song meant.
Right.
I guess I'd heard it some kind of way, and I was singing it, and she shut me down with that right quick. So I kind of think that's why it took me another 20 years to start singing.
You're in jazz shock or something.
I was in jazz shock. Oh, no, she wasn't standing for that.
Well,
of course, she's going to deny that, but Mama, that really did happen.
Well, so you started gigging in D.C. and then what happens after that?
So I started gigging in D.C. and then people heard me and I got featured in the Washingtonian magazine. And then other musicians began to hire me. And then I got booked to do a few festivals. And my first, big booking was here in New Orleans. Well, we're in Baton Rouge right now, but in New Orleans, Charlie Baring gave me my first gig at Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So I had my professional headshots done. And, I was just doing gigs.
Yeah.
One gig after the next. And I got booked in Aspen, Colorado.
Yeah, I think I did that gig with you.
You did a later one, but there was another one in
okay.
Aspen before
Okay.
you went to Aspen with me.
Yeah.
But, and then I got my first overseas gig. I went to Istanbul, Turkey,
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
all by myself.
That's a little
And
scary.
I was booked at a club. When I walked in, there was this huge mural of Sidney Bechet. And I stayed at Sheringham Palace. It was a beautiful hotel. This wonderful club inside the palace. And I played every night with a trio from Istanbul. The bass player was killer. He actually was a symphonic player
Oh, okay.
who was getting his jazz chops up, but he was,
Right.
he was just, of course he did everything perfectly. And he listened to all the great jazz basses, and he was just copying everything that he heard, but he was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just would promote myself and send my headshots out and call people. And then Steve introduced me to Shirley Horn, and she gave me a lot of great advice. One of the things she told me is, get all your money up front, because you'll never get it on the back end.
Man, that's great.
She gave me some other advice, which I won't tell.
Mm-hmm.
But she gave me a lot of good advice. And I followed it.
Yeah.
I followed a lot of what she said to me. And I was a Shirley Horn stalker. Everywhere she went, I went to so many Shirley Horn concerts. But I also went to a lot of Anita Baker concerts.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was an Anita Baker stalker for years, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anita Baker, Shirley Horn, anyone who had a sound that I just loved, you know, I would go just miles and miles to hear them, you know.
Yeah.
Another great duo that I love is Ashford and Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
Like Valerie Simpson is just one of my favorite singers,
Right.
writers. You know, she's a great piano player.
Yeah.
And I met her many years later. Actually, her husband had passed away, and I met her in New York at her club called the Sugar Bar. It was a great night. Wow. And, you know, so I have this thing where I love great R&B singers like Phyllis Hyman, you know, Nancy Wilson, of course. You know, Nancy is so important to me because, you know, she just did it all.
I can't think of a more versatile
Oh, my
singer,
God.
especially one that comes out of the jazz
Yes.
tradition.
I mean, Nancy Wilson is like a complete jazz singer and then a complete, you know, I mean, she's just a singer because she could sing, take anybody's song. Well, she and Gladys Knight, let's not forget Gladys.
Right, right.
You know, Gladys Knight can take your song away from you. Memories, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, she's just amazing. I watched her one night sing this Boys to Men song, The End of the Road. I said, okay, so she takes a whole group and takes their song and makes it hers, you know. I mean, she's just phenomenal. So, you know, I love just great singers. You know, I don't necessarily know that I'm a great singer yet, but I try to be. And I only listen to singers who are, really, really listen. Only really, really listen to singers who I really think are really phenomenal singers.
Well, I know
Because you can learn so much. Shaka Khan, you know. I mean, I grew up listening to Shaka Khan.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know. And then, you know, Shaka sings jazz. Well, Shaka can sing anything.
Right.
You know, but, you know, Shaka changed the game for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just unreal.
Well, you've turned me on to a lot of singers that I don't think I would, at least I didn't know at the time, that I really fell in love with. Arthur Prysock.
Arthur Prysock, you know, I love male singers.
Yeah.
You know, my dream in life was to sing backup for Luther Vandross.
I didn't know that.
That was, seriously, my dream in life was to sing backup for Luther. I'm serious about that one. I just wish that could have happened. The one thing in my life that did not happen. A lot of things have happened, but that would have made my life so complete just to sing one song behind Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know, but Arthur Prysock, you know, well, because my mom listened to a lot of male singers.
Yeah.
Nat Cole, you know, another great singer who I did get the pleasure of meeting and who was phenomenal, Gloria Lynn.
Oh, okay.
She was phenomenal. She was up in age. I heard her at DAR, Constitution Hall, after Katrina. She was phenomenal. And, you know, I'm so glad that I had throughout my life that I got to hear so many great singers live. Like, I actually heard Sarah Vaughan live.
Yeah.
You know, Ella Fitzgerald live. I mean, you know, let me just say this about Ella Fitzgerald. when I listen to Ella Fitzgerald, I could just say, okay, I don't need to sing. I mean, she is just phenomenal. I still don't understand Ella Fitzgerald. So I don't even attempt to do anything. I mean, you know, I just listen to Ella because it's so pure and so beautiful. You know, especially the stuff that she did with Duke Ellington. That stuff is so incredible. But I just say to myself, you know, I fit in somewhere. And let me not forget, while we're talking about great singers, the one and only Jimmy Scott.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Who, if anyone could ever sing slower than him and change your whole life, I don't know who could do that.
Yeah.
You know, the way he would just stretch a song out and give you every bit of emotion in a note. Jimmy Scott blew my mind to hear him live. And actually, one more singer that I got to hear live, Mr. B, Billy Eckstine.
Oh, really?
I always said if I ever owned a dog, I was going to name him Billy Eckstine.
Did you ever?
I don't have a dog. Maybe
There's still time.
maybe in my lifetime, you know, I'll get a dog, and his name, it has to be a male, and it must be. His name will be Billy Eckstine.
Well, you know, going back to Ella, I saw an interview one time that just blew my mind. She was talking to Andre Previn, and Previn was at the piano. It was kind of like this in a way, and just in the conversation, she says, "Well, you know, I mean, I'm not a musician. I mean, you're a musician." And Andre said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Wait a minute.
No, you can't get away with that."
That scat singing is just unreal to me. I knew that I was not a scat singer. That I knew. So I said, well, ain't no use in me trying to imitate Ella Fitzgerald. So I actually, when I really started singing, I really wanted to sound like Dinah Washington, believe it or not. What I you know, the blues in her and the diction, the way she pronounces every word, and the way she sang with such control, I love. I mean, I could just go on and on about all of the great singers that I really listen to. And I did not mention Billie Holiday yet, but, you know, Billie Holiday's voice is a voice that I still don't understand. And when I listen to her, something deep inside of me stirs up. She stirs me.
Yeah.
And her phrasing is just unreal to me.
Don't you think there's some singers that almost they transcend the sound of the voice, and it's
Yes.
just more the way they tell the story or the way they communicate?
Yes. But the singers of old all had definite voices. Like, you know, you hear Billie Holiday, you know that's Billie. You know, and there are people who try to imitate her, but there is no imitation. Ella, you just know that's Ella Fitzgerald.
Right.
Another great singer, too, that I loved was Nat Cole's daughter, Natalie Cole. Natalie was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal. The things that she could do.
In a lot of ways, like Nancy. Like
Yes.
Very versatile.
Yes, so versatile. I mean, you know, when she started singing jazz, I mean, it was just a natural progression for her to do that. Because she knew it. She lived with that music.
Right.
So it was so easy for her, you know, and so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time, but one singer we haven't mentioned is that I know was a huge influence on you, and consequently became an influence on me is Abby Lincoln.
Oh my goodness. Abby. There are no words for how Abby impacted my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Abby was the game changer for me. Like, I had never really known Abby until, in her music. Like, I had just never heard her until she started recording again in her later years for Verve Records.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember calling my mom and saying, "You've got to hear this song. A Turtle's Dream, you've got to hear this song. You've got to hear this record.
Mm-hmm.
This is unreal
Right.
to me." And I didn't know what to do after I heard Abby Lincoln.
Right.
I was like, but what I realized is that Abby helped me to find myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't quite figure out, what am I going to sing? Some songs, people say I should sing this song. Folks say I should know this song. There are a lot of jazz songs that I actually just don't like. I won't name any of them. But there's some songs that I just don't like.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, when you're trying to grow up as a singer, a quote-unquote jazz singer, well, you should be singing this or you should be singing that because Ella sang this and Sarah sang that and this one sang. And so this is all. And I would go, but I don't like that song. It doesn't feel like me.
Right.
Once I heard Abby Lincoln, who exclusively sang mostly her own music,
Right.
then I understood why a lot of stuff just didn't feel good to me.
Mm-hmm.
But Abby, her music just felt, and she told me, she said, "Stephanie, the greatest compliment you could ever give me is to sing my music."
Well, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Now, before we do that, because we might close out on this, is
Yeah.
the reason you're here in Baton Rouge is tonight you're going to sing for the Alvin Baptiste Jazz Society of Greater Baton Rouge, and this is the first. This is the inaugural event. This is the first time we're doing it. And real quickly, who was Alvin Baptiste to you? How are you connected to Alvin Baptiste?
So he's my uncle. My dad and my uncle met in college. They were frat brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And my Uncle Bat introduced his sister-in-law, my mom, to my dad. And the rest is history. So, he's an uncle, one of the greatest musicians that this planet ever experienced. And he was a great supporter of me. Mm-hmm. Some of my first gigs, he invited me on his bandstand. When that happened, then I said, okay, maybe I can sing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I really, that was such a booster, like I felt like I was doing something, like I could belong, on the stage with jazz musicians because
Mm-hmm.
I got to play with my uncle, Alvin Baptiste, who is no lightweight,
Right. Yeah. Kind of affirmation.
It was a total affirmation, and it helped me tremendously. It helped me to, to begin to really sort of figure myself out as a singer. And then also as a person, because, he was really involved with human development.
Sure.
Really understanding who you are and where your place is, and not being involved with what other people have or do or think, be more involved
Right.
with what it is that you're to do on this earth. And, it helped me a lot.
Well, he had a tremendous impact on so many musicians, including myself. Matter of fact, when I think about it, the first time I met you, was at his house.
Right.
Me as a student, I'd be over there all the time studying with him, and I forget why you were
Right.
there, but it's like, oh, hey, this is my niece Stephanie. I'm like, okay.
Y'all should get together.
Yeah, come to find out we did.
He was so easy like that.
Oh, and he was a funny guy.
Gosh, I miss him so much, but he's always with me because, my life is a tree.
Mm-hmm. So this is an Abby Lincoln tune, and you tell us about this tune before you sing.
So Throw It Away is inside of me. I sing it on every show that I do. Because I love Abby, because I love this great experience called jazz. It's a great song. And because I hope every person, male and female, will be empowered by the words in this song.
Yeah.
This is a female empowerment song for the world, for everybody. It's timeless. I think about this life I live, a figure made of clay. Think about the things I've lost, things I gave away. When I'm in a certain mood, I search the halls and look. One night I found these magic words in a magic book. Throw it away, throw it away. Give your love, live your life, each and every day. Keep your hands wide open, let the sun shine through. You can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. There's a hand to rock the cradle, hand to help us stand, with a gentle kind of motion as it moves across the land. But a hand unclenched and open, gifts of life and love it brings. Keep your hands wide open if you need anything. Throw it away, throw it away. Give your love, live your life, each and every day. Just keep your hands wide open, let the sun shine through. You can never lose a thing if it belongs to you.
The Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge would like to acknowledge our generous sponsors, the Shell Corporation, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Louisiana Office of Cultural Development, and the City of Baton Rouge.